I was 10 years old when Robots released in theaters. It is, as you might guess from what I've been talking about on this channel lately, another one of those had the DVD and beat the disc to smithereens movies. I've got a whole list of them on Letterboxd, and we will run out eventually. Let me know when you're ready for a Mary and Max video. Robots is a movie about robots, a whole society made of nothing but robots. Even the drum in the marching band, even the fire hydrant is a robot. It focuses on one young robot named Rodney Copperbottom and his quest to work toward his dreams of becoming an inventor to create a better life for his family. And while this film was highly successful in the box office and is widely remembered as that kids movie you saw a couple times when you were younger and probably enjoyed, there's actually a lot more going on when you look under the surface of this thing. I think Robots not only holds up now, but makes a statement about where our culture has been headed for a long time. Let's dive in.
Your father loves you very much.
I know.
With our friends and family plan, you can talk to him 500 minutes a month.
So this movie was directed by Chris Wedge, who was the co-founder of Blue Sky Studios and had previously directed Ice Age in 2002. He and William Joyce, known for creating Roly Poly Oly and doing design work for Toy Story and A Bug's Life, were going to adapt Joyce's book called Santa Calls, but after a failed animation test in the year 2000, they pivoted to creating an original story about a world of robots. They pitched the idea to Chris Meledandri at 20th Century Fox in 2001, and they began production in 2002 after Ice Age was released. Much of the crew from Ice Age returned to work on robots. I don't typically discuss the cast, but this movie is absolutely star-studded, so it seemed like a fun detour. It seriously seems like they stuffed as many celebrities as they could in here. They got Paula Abdul and Jay Leno playing random incidental characters, and the main cast is Ewan McGregor, Halle Berry, Robin Williams, Mel Brooke, Amanda Bynes, Stanley Tucci, Drew Carey, Jennifer Coolidge. Everywhere you look, there's a celebrity doing the voice acting. And I'm guessing that's a part of why this movie performed so exceptionally well in the box office. There were lots of reasons though. Robots was the first movie that had the trailer for Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. YouTube barely existed in 2005. Most people were watching stuff on stupidvideos.com or Newgrounds if anything. Many fans of the Star Wars franchise went to see the movie just to watch the Revenge of the Sith trailer and hear Ewan McGregor, aka Obi-Wan Kenobi's voice as Rodney. And this actually might be one of my favorite performances of his. Also Trainspotting. Combined with a sufficient marketing campaign that highlighted the studio's previous work on Ice Age, the movie ended up grossing $262 million at the box office against an estimated $80 million budget. In 2005, an article was published in the Sydney Morning Herald where Chris Wedge expressed interest in creating a sequel. However, Blue Sky Studios has since shut down, so the chances of that seem slim to none. And I'm honestly not sure what would happen in a sequel. I feel like it would have to be a completely different story, perhaps about Rodney inventing, but it's hard to imagine another main villain conflict scenario that could happen in this universe after they defeat capitalism, basically. So there was a video game made and released shortly before the film in America for GameCube, PS2, Xbox, Windows, DS, and GBA. It received middling scores across the board and doesn't seem like anything to write home about. I'm pretty sure I rented this on Xbox from Blockbuster with their Game Pass program, and that sentence really ages me. To my surprise, there was a lawsuit filed by Hans Rosenfeld of Tools Theater Investment Company, alleging that Fox and Blue Sky Studios appropriated ideas from their Tools musical fantasy and adventure show, which was marketed from 1999 to 2003 and eventually ruined by the movie's release because investors in the musical believed that the concept belonged to the owners of the movie. I'm not great with legalese, but I tried reading through the court documents I could find. It seems like in the plot of Tools, human factory workers are threatened with being replaced by robots called mandroids, orchestrated by an evil factory boss, and a worker leads the humans to fight back and destroy the mandroids. Rosenfeld claimed that both stories dealt with good versus evil and featured protagonists that showcased believing in yourself and following your dreams, and overcame efforts from evil leaders threatening to replace humans with robots. However, that last part was false, as you know if you've seen the movie, because humans do not play any part in robots. They don't even exist in the universe, from what I could tell. The robots in the Tools project didn't even speak, and Tools was designed as an interactive live-action show described as a cross between a Broadway play and a theme park attraction, while Robots was an animated movie. All of these factors ultimately led to the suit being thrown out, but not without admittance that the common themes of overthrowing a bad guy were conventional and unoriginal on both counts.
Just stick with me, kid. I know this town like the back of my hand. Hey, that's new.
From the creators of Ice Age. They're well built.
Oh, dear.
I'll get them.
Oh, look at it. Oh, now they're arm wrestling.
Well maintained.
Look at that! He fixed my neck!
And they're fighting back.
We're here to save you! How do you think it's going so far?
Robots.
There's 7 of us, and only
8, 9... Would you all stop moving around? Think I counted one of you twice!
Rated PG. March 11th, only in theaters.
America has spoken.
I'm a winner!
Robots. Rated PG. Friday, only in theaters.
My first reaction watching this again was that the style reminded me of Roly Poly, which now makes perfect sense considering William Joyce's involvement in the production. All things considered, I think the graphics hold up really nicely. Since they're not trying to depict our own reality, there's no bar of realism for them to meet. Everything looks like it's made out of metal because it is. Even their donuts. It's great. Also, total trans ally moment for Amanda Bynes' character Piper when she immediately gets excited about having a sister upon seeing Fender have emergency female robot parts. Gender doesn't really exist in this universe in the way that it does for us when you get to just change it like feet on a Bratz doll. I really love the giant Rube Goldberg machine that serves as public transit. They easily could have just made it a train, but instead Rodney and Fender go on a crazy ride that showcases the city and the animation team's creativity. There's a lot of fun music on the soundtrack that's clearly put there to appeal to kids and the pop culture of the time, but the choice to use Tom Waits during the Madame Gasket scene is so good. The visuals and the music work together really well to instill fear in the viewer and establish a sense of dread for what's going on down there. When 2 robots want to have a baby, they order one and literally build it. They come with a volume knob. And when they want to upgrade their kid, they give them new parts. And in Rodney's family, those parts are ill-fitting hand-me-downs because they don't have money for new ones. The beauty of the world in this movie as we see it in the beginning is that every robot looks different. There's a wide variety of shapes and colors in every scene where you see the general populace. However, the citizens are soon outmoded, meaning their parts are no longer being made and they cannot get repairs. The city has these big sweeper vehicles that consume outmoded robots as scrap metal and melt them down until Rodney starts using his inventor skills to repair other citizens, which gets him in trouble.
As soon as you reach the age where your warranty expires, you start falling apart.
Producing a movie for such a young target demographic with these themes in the early 2000s was a ballsy move. The main conflict of this movie is a corporation deciding to stop producing body parts for the citizens it serves, in the interest of selling them more expensive full-suit upgrades that most of them cannot afford, therefore leaving the poor members of society deteriorating and self-repairing with duct tape so they can keep working to survive, while the rich leave them in the dust. Sound familiar? Rodney's father works as a dishwasher, and his physical form is defined by that profession as his torso functions as a dishwasher. He brings his work home with him by literally continuing to wash dishes around the clock. The world in this movie is so late-stage capitalism that their actual bodies are the product, the thing that they have to work to make money in order to afford and maintain. Not being able to do so results in violent death by giant street vacuum. Of course, most movies for kids feature some sort of hero's journey where the main character and their group of buddies work to defeat the bad guy, but in this movie the bad guy is a symbol representing all that is wrong with capitalism. The complete lack of a sense of oneness and community, and the overwhelming desire to acquire funds at the expense of other living beings with no regard for their well-being. Rodney and his ragtag group of friends kind of represent a revolution or rejection of the ideas being perpetuated by Ratchet at Big World Industries. They live together and function as a self-contained found family community who refuse to leave one another behind. And all of this is why I think this movie is more relevant than ever now. Sure, the music and the voice cast date things, but the themes are universal for living in the modern world. All of us are trapped in a rat race that is not of our own creation. A few people in a metaphorical shiny tower are running the show, playing games with our lives, making living life worse because they're hyper-focused on accumulating as much money as possible. They have no problem sweeping the less fortunate under the rug, leaving them to die, and this movie communicates all of that right underneath its shiny, cartoony metal presentation. The corporate mission to turn every robot into a chromium clone also speaks to the beauty industry, which, although its ideal seems to be changing every few years these days, enforces the idea that we all have to look a certain way, that a certain way of appearing is the best way, and that you are lesser than if you do not conform, participate in the charade, change yourself to meet the standard. The cosmetics industry in the US this year is estimated to generate about $49 billion in revenue, and although there is also artistic value in the makeup world, the overwhelming majority of that is generated because people, especially women, are told that they have to modify their appearance through makeup and hair extensions and plastic surgery. To be honest with you, I enjoy painting my face every once in a while, but the only part of the industry I see any true value in is skincare. But even that sector of the industry is based on a fear of aging, or I guess you could say being outmoded by those younger than you. My problems with our modern society could be a 10-hour-long video on their own, and I think I've communicated the gist of it here, so I'm gonna stop now and hand the mic to my bestie, Man of a Thousand Thoughts, to share his take on the movie.
On March 11th, from the creators of Ice Age, comes the best film of its kind since Finding Nemo.
Yeah!
Robot is absolutely wonderful.
Everybody in town loves you. Once again.
And funny.
Thank you.
It's the most fun-filled family movie since Shrek. This is so wrong. Robin Williams is back with all his antics.
Get out of my room! I'm not in your room. I am now. No, I'm not. I am not.
Robots. Rated PG. March 11th, only in theaters.
Robots is a hit. And everyone's getting in on the fun.
Should we come too?
Everybody, come on! Once again. Thank you.
Robots, rated PG, now playing only in theaters.
It's quite amazing when you think about robots for a second. This is a fairly unassuming kids film that on the surface seems like a simple one, and some movies of this type were, but rewatching it as an adult, you start to see the deeper meanings this movie was going for, and honestly, it tells it in a fantastic way. There's this deep message in the regards to the rich and working class that very much resonates with our current times. You can talk about the whole wanting to replace workers with newer, shinier models aspects, or workers coming together in a strong union against the corporate hacks, or the spoiled rich boy who hurts the workers just to accentuate his own ego. Boy, that one really resonates a little too close to home right now, huh? It manages to tackle real issues in a fairly digestible way that I somewhat believe led a few of us that have seen it to be that new age hippie scum that we are today. Down with the system, but I digress. It surprisingly speaks to real problems that many of us face now with us being replaced because it's so easy, or not having our work appreciated because the corporate hacks in charge just don't want to pay us properly. It really is a movie that kind of matured pretty well with its audience. It's a total surprise with how much it holds up. Like, the characters themselves are a nice bunch that you connect with pretty easily. Rodney is an everyman, but his wide-eyed sense of wonder and justice puts a smile on my face. It's just, he's simple and innocent. Fender is... I mean, come on, he's voiced by the GOAT Robin Williams. Need I say more? Okay, I will. He's this frantic guy that does come across as the goofy sidekick in these type of movies, but Robin Williams' shtick and comedic timing makes him a favorite to watch. Gotta say rest in peace to the greatest. He was the best to ever do it. Come on now. It's also great how the world itself is pretty engaging. There's always something in it that makes you want to know what's going on. Or there's these intricate gadgets that just makes you wonder, how does that work? I really want to know how that works. And you would think it doesn't work with how some of these gadgets and ways of traversal are going on, but it looks fun as hell. I can't fake. If this was an amusement park, I would be there on opening day. Seriously though, this could have gotten a spin-off series or something, and I would have been down to watch it, just to get even more of this very intricate world that they built. Like, all the different sections you see in it, there's just something going on that just makes you want to go walking in it just to see how everything is, or just to know what else you could discover. It's so interesting how each scene has a nice environment that you just want to see more of. That's just something you don't get a lot of, but it's something you really appreciate when you do. Robots is definitely one of those gems that didn't have to be more than what it is, but I think it's great that it proved that it was more than a piece of scrap. Thanks to the bestie Offbeat Kiki for letting me onto your channel. I really appreciate this collab we were able to do, and to be able to talk about this very underrated film.
Thank you, Man, for stopping by to share your thoughts on this one. Please check out his channel if you aren't subscribed already. He makes video essays on animated topics with a very unique and fun twist. Well, here we are. We finally made this video over a year after we had the idea. I'm honestly a little hesitant about this one. I don't feel like I'm able to sufficiently express why I appreciate it so much. Robots perfectly rides the line of including funny or musical moments that appeal to a childlike sense of humor and themes that resonate with working adults. As such, it remains a successful movie for all ages and glows in my childhood memory of watching it. The art still looks great 17 years later, and the characters are relatable and full of personality. I have vivid memories of replaying the Britney Spears scene with my brother and sister and dancing along to it. Its story is really satisfying, and it's still genuinely a fun, gorgeous watch all the way through. I wish we had more movies that reflect our reality the way this one does, despite its colorful, musical, and playful presentation. I'll be on the lookout. Let me know if you think of anything.
Engulf me in the water warm.
Can I ask you kind of a weird question?